Panic erupted in the Idimu area of Alimosho, Lagos, after 3 party guests and a truck motorboy were electrocuted during its Chieftaincy celebration. The motorboy died instantly, while the other victims were rushed to the hospital. The incident occurred on adjoining streets where canopies had been mounted for a week-long coronation celebration. A truck attempting to drive through the street was obstructed by one of the canopies blocking the road. Witnesses said some guests and a truck occupant tried to leave the canopy to create passage for the vehicle. During the process, the metal frame reportedly touched an exposed wire lying on the ground. Eyewitnesses described how the victims collapsed immediately after the electric shock. The party ended abruptly as guests fled the scene in confusion and fear. Residents said the motorboy was confirmed dead on arrival at a nearby hospital, while the 3 injured guests are receiving treatment. The deceased family later retrieved his body for burial. Local police said the incident was not formally reported at the station, and efforts to obtain further clarification from authorities are still ongoing. We have talked about, on the show, I think we previously talked about the high tension. I remember that day you made reference to how the high tension can simply be described as low tension. And we talked about why, as a system, we haven't been able to adapt, process where we put these pipes on the ground to save people from electrocution when a little girl, stepped on a live wire. What are your thoughts on this report? People left their houses to come for a party and a coronation, and there was an electrocution, and even though the guests are receiving treatment, the motorboy is currently dead. Let's talk about it.
Nigeria is an interesting, it's a beautiful place, but we find bodies to, I should phrase this better. Nigeria is a great place, but we fail at doing the right things most times. And this affects both. I'm speaking to both leaders, organizations, bodies that have been put in place, and we as a people as well. Many levels of 0 points, decimals of wrong things that we do that accumulate to big issues in the end. Now, I am sure there are bodies that have been put in place to ensure that, like I said the last time, like you rightly mentioned, even if we are not incorporating underground wiring, at least let us ensure that the poles are quite tall, far from where we are operating as civilians, and these poles are not falling off the road. At least let us have that. So first, I don't know why we have such I'm not sure how low or high the pole was. And secondly, these people that drive these trucks, they know the right things to do, but I mean, I've seen these things happen in real time as well, right? It was really not funny, like a truck was trying to move along a minor road, and it was, I've forgotten what it was carrying, but literally, like, even the truck drivers, the truck personnel have this particular, some of them, even most of them, have this particular wooden stick that they keep with their trucks all the time, literally. So what I'm trying to say, they know that they are going to get to areas where the truck is literally too high to pass underneath these wires. So they keep these poles so they can push up wires and pass underneath. So you can't tell me we are not aware of these things. But like I always say on the show, we just live as if everybody's living by chance, everybody's trying to just live basically. And as much as it's a good thing, survivability and all of that, we have to still be able to take responsibility for ourselves and actions. Things that are wrong, we should not find ourselves doing it. Now, aside from that, road safety is part of their job to also ensure that some trucks are not on the road mostly. I can say, okay, they might not have eyes on minor roads and all of that. But in more organized societies, you find that before you enter areas, before you take the diversion into some location, you will see signs that tell you, oh, this place you have to move at this particular speed.
Oh,
This area, this the height of car that can pass this area. Do you understand?
right.
But we do not have these things going on. So you find out that these trucks go into areas where the wires, like I said, that's already a failure on its own. The poles are not high enough,
Mm.
then these people have to pull up these poles and pass. So then there are those that are involved in also requesting for services that brings in these trucks, which are still people like us. You know that, for example, you stay in an area where you know the poles are not good, right? The poles are not so high. Then you request for trucks. I'm not saying we should not go around, with our day and all that, but at least make some sort of provision. Ask some questions. Let them know ahead of time. Oh, I don't think the truck can pass this place. So what can we do? I'm sure there are other options that could have been done.
Right.
Then there's the aspect of open events. In as much as
Right.
I am sure, I'm aware that the two states, I think Lagos most especially, has been cracking down on open events in most
So why
locations.
was this allowed?
But
Because the bulk of this incident simply happened because there was an open event. Over here in River State, you find out that, okay, you're about to go to the market, for example, and it's a Friday, and on your way out, you find out that the only route that can take you easily to where you're headed is completely blocked, and there is no thought for people and commuters and citizens on how they are going to pass. And these people are equally taxpayers. Why is this allowed? Why is this, open event happening when we have event centers all over the city?
I mean, I'm aware it's a thing. It has been a thing in this part of the world, but recently, I'm aware some states. I'm not sure the number of states. I'm aware some states, including Lagos, as being, has placed bans on such events. But the funny thing about human beings, we will find a way to go against rules and regulations, which is exactly what happened here. I mean, just like you rightly said, the event centers, they are much more separated cases people can use that are not on the roadside. Worst case scenario, you might say, oh, I don't have so much to rent an event center. Okay, why not find the fenced space or a space that is not on the road? Then do your events, within laws, so you don't make so much noise. Because there's, aside from the road blockage, there's also sound pollution and disturbance and all of that.
Right.
So you still find out that some people still go against this group, just like this situation. And not to point fingers or anything, but in quotes, it's a chieftaincy thing. So who knows? Maybe it was it's a thing of I'm a chief in this society. I should be able to use this thing. This part of the world we live in. Everybody wants to flex some sort of privileges of ours at some point, and sadly, this happened. And it's just a chance people out there want to have events. I mean, yeah, before I forget, there's also the part of safety. Some of us do not take environmental safety seriously. Aside from the fact that we have organizations that do these things, do not do their jobs well. In as much as this was not like it's not like it's a workspace entirely. People should also be careful before you set up or mount your things. Why don't you look around? You know, for wirings that are closed. You don't have to see an open high tension to know that it's dangerous. Even if it's closed, so long as it's an high tension, I don't know why the canopy would be under an high tension. I don't know why someone would park his or her vehicle under an high tension. I don't know why someone would want to cross the road and stay under, the high tension wires. Nobody plans for these things. It doesn't tell you when it wants to happen. So you prevent these things by staying clear from locations that seem to be prone to hazard. And I feel like if we all check all these boxes, sad things like this would not happen in our societies.
Thank you so much. You talked about people standing on the high tension wire areas. how people need to stand under the high tension. People now stand under the high tension. People should be wary of standing there waiting for transportation. Sometimes people park their cars under this area. Sometimes people are just usually underneath the high tension. Now, I want to ask you, do you think people are well abreast as regards the danger that can happen with that, especially given that few months ago, I think it's about a month or two, this guy that does this whole car reviews, well, his name is not coming to me just now. He does a lot of car reviews online, talks about Ola of Lagos. His shop was brought down by the agency that is in charge of, this particular kind of problem for building his showroom just underneath the high tension wire. Now, if someone like Ola of Lagos that is, must have used a good surveyor of some sort, a good engineer, and saw that property and bought it for a brand like his, do you think that the woman that sells in the market bothers a lot about the high tension she's sitting under to sell her wares? Do you think the little children coming back from school are well informed that standing under the high tension might be risky for you in case something happens? Do you think that we're doing enough as regards information dissemination to let people know that standing or being anywhere around the high tension poses a risk? Do you think people are aware?
Interesting question. I would say people are aware, and that is because the electrocution is not a new word. It's not a new phenomenon that will say, oh, someone living as far as someone in the village knows what it means for electric to shock someone. At some point in life, I would say, I compare that I'll say at least 60% of humans on this earth have experienced, electric shock. It could be, when I say electric shock, I'm not saying a full-blown electric shock. It could be from, small currents. That small heat when something shocks you. That, oh, it's like it's in the shock. It could be from a small charger, or your phone, or your laptop. At some point, you have experienced that feeling. And we all know that it's not a good thing if it's on a large scale. And when I say large scale, we look at the large devices, complex of direct high tension wire. Like I said earlier, I feel like Nigerians are just very positive and free-minded people that feel, oh, some people have been crossing on the side of the road at this high tension for decades and the high tension has not dropped, right? So why would you drop today? Do you understand that kind of thing? So people just live life, like I always say, by chance, because when you do this, you're living by chance. Because, a lot of people also know, I'm sure Nigerians are very quick to feign ignorance or just feign these things. I understand that sometimes some people are left with little to no option. What if that side of the road is like the only road you can cross through and all of that? There are situations like that. But if there are ways for you to prevent putting yourself in such 50-50 situations, choose not to put yourself in such situations. That's just my point.
Right.
Yeah. Not because doing such a thing. It's just typical Nigerian behavior where you know something is wrong, but you just do it because you feel you can get away with it. And some people do get away with these things. Some do not. Just like the tragedy that happens. Some people get away with it. Some do not.
Right
now, as we speak, I'm sure if there is a camera watching every location in Nigeria, someone somewhere is doing an open party under a wire. So that's just the way Nigerians live. For decades, that's always been like this. But that's the mentality we need to change. We can still keep talking about these things like we are discussing right now. These things are not safe. When you see a wire drop, somewhere, you could be walking on the road now and you see a wire on the ground. It's best you move to the other side or move far from it, rather than think, oh, I don't think there's current in this wire, let me just jump across and let me just move, close to it. And that's how these things happen. Right. So prevention is better than cure. That's
absolutely.
What yeah, basically.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report.